DWRB News FM 103.9. Ang himpilang magbibigay ng mga impormasyon sa larangan ng edukasyon, kalusugan, pangsakahan, kapaligiran, musika, natatanging kaalaman, at mga pinakahuli at sariwang balita sa loob at labas ng bansa. DWRB News FM. Ang himpilang ikaw ang una. Ikaw ang una.
Bahay OFW, ang programang magkakaloob sa inyo ng mga kaganapan sa kalagayan ng mga overseas Filipino workers sa buong daigdig. Bahay OFW, ang programang magbibigay daan sa mga panayam sa mga tao at ahensyang responsable, gagabay at aalalay sa mga OFW. Bahay OFW, ang programang mag-uugnay sa mga tao at ahensyang tutugon sa kanilang mga kahilingan at hinaingin para sa kanilang kabutihan at kapakanan. At ngayon, pakinggan at tunghayan natin ang inyong kasangga, si June De Vera, sa programang Bahay OFW.
Isa na namang magandang hapon sa inyo lahat dyan sa buong panig ng mundo, sa ating mga nanonood at nakikinig. At since this is a special coverage, meaning a special pre-recorded po itong ating broadcast, while it will still be broadcasted on April 29. Kaya lang ngayon namin ni-record dahil sa April 29 ng aking co-anchor and Hong Kong correspondent na si Mr. Pieter Nootenboom ooperahan. At schedule siyang maoperahan sa 29. So, hindi siya pwedeng mag-online. So, ngayon na namin ninais na mag-record. Now, of course, we will dispense of many other previously Bert, pakisara yung mga pinto, Bert. Previously sandali lang ha. Yung mga previously na mini-mention natin, like yung birthdays, etc., medyo hindi naman natin i-mention yun. Of course, tuloy yung program natin bukas at sa May 15. Pero this one will be broadcasted on May 29. Okay, so most probably by this time nakarating na at nakipag-usap na I'm assuming na papapasukin sila ang ating DMW Secretary Susan Toots Ople, at ang kanyang Undersecretary Patricia Y. Kaunan sa bansang Kuwait. Dahil during this time, as we speak, at this moment, kahit na may visa ka, bawat Pilipino daw, hindi pwedeng papasukin sa Kuwait. At yun nga ang issue natin bukas sa programa natin. And hopefully by this time, naayos na nila. No? Secondly, dahil ang sabi, ito naman ang chismis. Ang sabi, yun na nga, may pumunta raw delegation dito, mukhang hindi napansin. Pero Martes lang yun, wala tayong pinanghahawakan. Kung hindi yung sinabi ng Arab community rito, but sometimes, hanggat wala kang pinanghahawakan, we don't jump to conclusions. So, kalma lang. At I'm very sure our Secretary of Department of Migrant Workers and her very hardworking Undersecretary P.Y. Kaunan is doing something about it. And kaya nga aalis daw sila either May 15 o bukas o sa 16, sa Tuesday. Anyway, next is, of course, after the trip to Kuwait, they will proceed to Saudi Arabia. para ayusin naman yung mga more or less 10,000 workers na hindi nakasahod since 2015 pa yata yun, hindi ko matanda, o 2017 eh. Basta galing sa tatlong kumpanya eh. Saudi Bin Laden, Saudi Auger, nakalimutan ko yung isa, no? O Zamzum yata o something. Basta mga malaking company. Hindi ko na matandaan yung katlo eh. But my point is, there are these three big companies, mga 10,000 workers na na-layoff, mukhang hindi nabayaran ng sweldo. So from Kuwait, diretso sila ng Saudi para ayusin yan. Okay? And then, yung mga license agencies, by the way, sa mga license agencies naman, baka naman po pwede. Mga license agencies naman, merong bagong pinapatupad na Governing Board Resolution number 5 series of 2022 na naglalaing pabilisin ang verification at saka pag-issue ng accreditation ng bawat direct employer sa POLO or kung tawagin nila ngayon is Migrant Workers Office. Okay? Now, ano yun? Kailangan ng verification ng accreditation. Ayon doon ayon sa resolution, Governing Board Resolution. Verification and accreditation principles shall now be delegated to POLOs in countries or territories of their primary or concurrent jurisdictions. Number 2, POLO verification and accreditation process will be for 7 to 10 days from submission of complete documents. POLO will issue appropriate accreditation certificate after applicable verification fees are paid. Number 3, the requirements for verification and accreditation has been reduced, dami, to 3 primary documents. Recruitment agreement or, by the way, nag-issue ng bagong MC ang hindi nakasamang special power of attorney. Okay, nag-issue ng bagong MC or memorandum circular ang Department of Migrant Workers. Hindi kasasabi lang sa akin, hindi na raw kailangan ang special power of attorney. Okay? So recruitment agreement na lang. Recruitment agreement. Doon sa recruitment agreement, naka-embodied doon yung contents ng ng SPA. Job order or manpower request, tsaka master employment contract. Okay? Yung master employment contract, yan yung halimbawa, kukuha ng mga more than 2 or more workers. Isa lang sasabit nyo, blanco yan, except yung pangalan ng employer, ganun. O pipirma ng employer yan, tataka ng labor attaché, tapos i-xerox nyo na lang yan. At yan ang papipirma nyo sa worker. So, from 2 to 100 or even to 1,000, isa lang yan. Para hindi masyado makapal. Okay? Agencies, which are foreign placement agencies or foreign recruitment agencies or staffing and dispatching companies, and for principals hiring domestic workers, there will be additional documents that will be required. Ano po yun? Ano po yung mga additional na yun? Okay. Based naman sa MC16, ito yung mga additional documents na yun. Notarized recruitment agreement or special, again, wala na special power of authority, tinanggal na yun. With the following attachment, copy of valid ID o ng mga signatories, principal registration ng business registration of principal, at saka undertaking ng principal to monitor yung mga workers. Okay? Para lang maliwanag na hindi magulo. Okay. Number 2, notarized service agreement within the foreign placement agency or foreign recruitment agency or yung staffing workers at yung client nila. Okay? Karagdagan yun. Importante yun. Dapat may notarized service agreement. Number 3, job order from the following attachment. Manpower demand. With the following attachment, manpower demand from the foreign recruitment agencies at saka what you call this? Bakit ayaw anyway, yun ang mga, tsaka business registration ng client. Okay? Kailangan maliwanag yan, ha? Hindi pa pwedeng Bakit ayaw Ayaw numerical po ating Okay? Anyway, so that's it. Tapos, notarized master employment contract. Yun din. Tulsitas, no? And authorized undertaking to hire Filipino welfare officer. Lalo na kung kukuha ng domestic helper. Kailangan mag-hire sila ng Filipino welfare officer. Kung hindi naman, hindi na kailangan. Kung hindi domestic helper. Kasi considered as vulnerable how do you call this, vulnerable sector yung domestic workers. Cut a long story short, gusto nila merong hinahire na specific na Filipino welfare officer or counselor. Okay? The undertaking shall include that the principal or employer will employ the Filipino welfare officer or counselor who shall monitor and resolve domestic workers' problems, complaints on the job site or at the job site. Okay? They should have the following qualifications, basic qualifications. Ano yung mga ito? College degree holder. Okay? College degree with at least 2 years experience in handling OFWs and conversant sila dapat sa language so that they can be understood by the by the employer. Okay? Salamat kay Labat Soul ng Polo, Washington for giving me this one. Now, in countries na walang Polo or migrant workers office, documents may be authenticated but not verified nor accredited. No accreditation certificate can be issued. Can be attested lang, no? Or if apostille acknowledged, kinakailangan ipa-apostille sana, acknowledged by the Philippine Embassy or Consulate with jurisdiction over the job site. Then, ipo-forward nila sa POA for accreditation. Yun. Then, pwede rin, halimbawa, license agency na kayo, nandito na yung employer, tapos dala niya na rin yung dokumento niya. Pwede nyo rin isamahan sila sa POEA. And then, pipirma na lang sila ng necessary documents in front of any POEA official. Yan. So, yan ang mga kagandahang dulot. By the way, nagpabala si DMW Secretary Ople na hahabulin niya ng opisina niya yung mga at gagawing criminal offense ang mga nag-ahintehan dyan sa mga aligid sa agencies na kunwari hindi naman pala talaga registered sa POA. So kung hindi kayo naka-register sa POA, medyo mandahanda. Magpa-register na kayo or mandahanda kayo. Dahil pag nasalbo yan ng POA or ng DMW, lagi ko sinasabi. Kasi POA naman talaga ang dating pangalan yan eh. So, napaghahalo-halo ko lang. No? Humanda na kayo dahil medyo magiging criminal offense na nga yan pagka hindi kayo registered sa POA or sa DMW. Another medyo konting update. may panibagong employment or hiring policy na po ang gobyerno ng South Korea. Kaiba po ito doon sa EPS, government-to-government hiring system na pinatutupad ngayon ng POEA. Ang government-to-government ay gumagamit po ng or EPS E9 visa, type ng visa. Ito po ay sa manufacturing sector lang. Pero itong bagong patakaran ng Korean government ay kung tawagin ay E7 visa. Okay? Na maghahanap po ng mga skilled workers. Ayon sa ating source na nakausap po 2 weeks ago, na kasalukuyan kailangan nila ng around 10,000 6G TIG-MIG welders para sa shipbuilding and repairs sa South Korea mismo. At of course, iba pang mga categories na sumasailalim ng skilled worker, karpentero, mason, tubero, whatever. Basta skilled worker. Of course, sakop na rin dito iba't ibang sektor ng tulad ng construction, maintenance, maybe even hospitalization, no? Or even hospitality pala, not hospitalization. Even hospitality sector, no, ha? Basta hindi po kasama sa manufacturing. Yeah? O yung KFSMB. G2G po kasi lang ito. At gumagamit ka ng E9 visa. Pakiusap lang po, wag po tayo masyadong diretso wag po kayong masyadong mag-PPM sa akin diretso, please lang. Kasi hindi ko po nabubuksan sa dami ng PM. Doon po kayo mag-PM doon sa sa Bahay OFW. Doon kayo mag-message or magkuhan at sasagutin po natin 'yan. Pangako. Pero hanapin niyo yung Meta Business Suite kasi doon yung pwede kayo mag-message sa akin Okay? So 'yun, pag nahanap niyo 'yun, darating po sa akin 'yun. Okay? At sasagutin ko pa 'yun. Pero ngayon kasi madali na magpa-uwi. Kontakin niyo lang yung OWA, meron sila yung 1348 ba 'yun? O something like that. O yun lang, pwede na 'yun. Mabilis sila magpa-uwi ngayon, no? Mag-repatriate. Compare sa dati. At isa pang pakiusap na ilalapit sa tulong ng malalapit na tulong diyan ay ayon sa ang radio station po natin hindi naman po what you call this, hindi naman po how do you call this, hindi naman po DSWD. Baka naman po pwede po kung po pwede, medyo wag naman po tayong para kumakautos parang tayo na po ang para kayo na po ang nagpapakain sa amin dito. Alam nyo, limited lang din po ang aming oras. Siyempre, limited din ang budget namin. Baka naman po pwede medyo pagka hindi ho namin nagagampanan kagad ang aming mga ipinangakong tulong sa inyo, hindi po sa amin yun dahil nakikiusap kayo sa amin at nakikiusap din po kami sa mga taong nilalapitan namin sa gobyerno. Kaya medyo alalay lang po, pero maayos din po natin yan. Okay? So, bago po tayo magpatuloy sa ating mga panauhin ngayon, ano lang po tayo, konting advertisement lang po sa ating Sabon Depot. Okay? Ang Sabon Depot po, Philippines ay mahigit ng 10 taon sa merkado ng franchising business at merong mahigit na 500 franchisee or ngayon lumalaki pa na outlets sa buong Pilipinas. Sa bansa pa lang yan, wala pa sa buong mundo. Meron po silang 11 manufacturing site sa buong Pilipinas o sa buong bansa at sa mga susunod pang buwan ay magbubukas sila ng internationally sa mga bansang Malaysia, Indonesia, Spain at saka Italy dahil may mga kausap na yung may-ari yan tapos meron po silang mga in-house chemist na gumagamit ng panibagong inobasyon at na kung tawagin ay green green or plant-based formulas. Ano ibig sabihin nito? Ang ibig sabihin po nito kasi ay ito po ay active ingredients na sangkop na kanilang ginagamit para sa kanilang mga produkto. Okay, biodegradable po 'yan. Sila po ang kauna-unahan sa merkado na pag-introduce ng paggamit ng refilling program. Ito ay isa rin sa mga pangunahing tinaguri ang internationally friendly procedure dahil binabawasan o pinabababa nila yung or iniiwasan na ang paggamit ng mga single-use plastics. Ano ba itong single-use plastics? Ito po ang nakakasira ng ating kalikasan. Yung iba dyan, napupunta ng dagat, nakakain ng mga isda. Kaya kung meron kayong yung isdang nabibili nyo, lalo na kung galing ng dagat, nakakain po tayo ng microplastics na nadadigest ng ating ng mga isda. Hindi natin nakikita yan. Pero at one given time, yung yan, ina-absorb ng ating katawan, medyo nagkakasakit po tayo dyan. Dalhin nyo lang inyong basyong gamit na container at i-refill lang po ang yung refill lang po ang inyong babayaran. Hindi na po kasama dyan yung Hindi na po kasama dyan yung lalagyan. Okay? So, nakatipid po tayo. Ngayon, nasa background na po natin ngayon ang ating guest, no? At hindi guest, ang ating what you call this? Ang ating bakit guest ba sinabi ko? Ating co-anchor and the Hong Kong correspondent na si Pieter. Pieter Nootenboom. Okay? Bakit wala ako? Bakit wala akong Wala akong yun. Ba't wala ako sa video? Ba't wala ang video ko? Nanong sasabihan keka? Bakit wala akong video? Video, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. The problem is I have no video myself. I do not know why. I do not know why I do not have any video. And to be honest, I do not know how to control it. how stupid of me. Now, how do I control that?
At the bottom of the screen on the left side is your button for the mic on and off, and next to that is the video.
I did. I do not know. Let me see, Let me see. Audio, the camera. Ayun. Okay, hello. Yeah, there I go. Okay, sorry. Something I must have done something not good. Somewhere in my youth or childhood, as they sing in the Sound of Music. Okay, how are you, my friend?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, and how's our Hong Kong correspondent? Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention to you that what's her name? Director Jocelyn Ortega sent me the video of the Baliksaya in Hong Kong, which unfortunately I forgot to download. So I do not know how to download it. I should have downloaded it earlier. I do not know how to do that. So, how do I do that? I don't think I can download it. Save the video. Yes, I can save the video. But Let me see, I do not know how to download it. How do I download this? Oof. Sometimes when you are not a technical, it's very difficult. Uh, Apply, remove, blah, 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 blah. Okay, let me see if I can put this in the video file. No, I cannot. I cannot do it. No, I cannot. I cannot download it. I do not know why, but she sent me a file, but it's on Facebook. But I do not know how I can put that here. I can't even download the damn thing. Yeah, you can hear that, can you? But we cannot download it. That's the problem. The technicalities of all this reply removal. No, I cannot download it as much as no. No, we cannot. Sorry, I cannot upload the maybe during the broadcast date before we start your program or after we start your program, I can continue the sending the pictures or the video. Anyway, did you ask them to enter the studio now?
I have already asked them, but
Your mic is very very soft, my friend. Yeah,
my voice is too low.
I cannot hear you, my friend. Sorry, we cannot hear you.
Your microphone at your end, with your second.
No, very soft, my friend.
But I'm talking
We
quite
cannot
loud.
hear you. Your audio is very very.
Okay,
Your
I'll
audio
leave
is
and come
very.
back.
Huh? What? Anyway, habang inaayos po ni ating kaibigan yung kanyang yung kanyang what you call this, yung kanyang kanyang sound system, medyo inaayos din natin yung ating system, no, ha? Ano yung pagpapasensyahan ninyo kasi maganda ito pag-uusapan natin na nangyayari sa Hong Kong. Kasalukuyang nangyayari sa Hong Kong. Medyo akala ninyo medyo maganda. Well, in fairness, maganda ang Hong Kong. Hindi ko sinasabing pangit. Pero hindi nyo may aalis. Sa bawat gubat, may ahas. So, may mga employer na parang sinasamantala pa rin ang ilan sa ating mga manggagawa. At yun ang ikinagagalan itong ating co-anchor at radio correspondent, news correspondent natin sa Hong Kong, si Mr. Pieter Nootenboom. Maraming naayos na diyan na what you call that na workers, marami siyang natutulungan, marami siyang tawag ito na what you call this? Extra camera, hindi eh. Anyway, nakakainis naman tong pinadala sa akin. Diyos ko, mahabag yun. FB. Paano ako palalapas dito yung FB? Hindi ko naman alam yun. Hindi naman ako ganun ka-high-tech. Sana pinadala sa akin yung video mismo. Diyos ko naman tong mapagalitan ko nga. Itong si OWA Director Kwan. Nag-message yung isang pamangking ko, si Didibet, kung pwede daw bukas pag-usapan yung kwan. Sabi ko hindi po pwede. Tsaka uunahin namin yung issue ng Kuwait. Okay, so that being said, ba't wala pa si kaibigan natin si Pieter Nootenboom? Yan siya yung nasa kanan. Kung makikita nyo. Mukhang kamukha hindi niya kamukha si Prince Charles. Kamukha niya yung lolo ni Prince Charles. Si Prince Charles the First. Yung pinugutan ng ulo. Kasi may bigote yun. Anyway, yan. Yan siya. Okay. Tagal naman niya pumasok. Ano nangyari sa kanya? Okay. Sabi ko, nasaan ka na? Okay, so yun, bumalik. So there you are. So are you now okay?
Yes, your sound is clear now. Before it was crackling, I couldn't hear you.
Well, you're coming in a little bit distorted, but much better than before. I mean, your voice is a bit distorted, but much clearer compared to a very weak and distorted one earlier before you sign off. I mean, you get out of the studio. Anyway, so what do we have? What do we have now in Hong Kong?
Well, have the other three parties I have invited, have any of them logged in?
Oh, now Mary is here. Yeah, here's Mary. Hi, Mary.
Hi, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mary. Oh, good afternoon. Oh, so we're just waiting for another one. So, what can you introduce Mary, Peter? What is she working?
Mary was working as a domestic helper in Hong Kong, so different employed after only 40, but the last 2 years she had a problem and we filed cases against the employer of the case. I think it's Mary would like to dialogue and talk all the procedure we went through and how she won her cases.
Can I allow Mary to give her story? And my friend, your signal is really very bad, by the way. You're coming in and out, and it's really distorted. I think it's your signal. It's really very, very unstable.
Full intention.
Sorry?
Connection.
Yeah, your connection is not very stable.
Action is very stable in Hong Kong. I think it's the Philippine end that is weak.
We cannot understand what you're talking about now again, my friend. Anyway, can I allow Mary to tell her story so that while you look for a much better connection? I'm sorry about this, my friend. Yeah. Mary, pwede bang ikwento mo sa mga nakikinig natin, ano ba ang ano ba nangyari sa iyo at umpisa mo sa umpisa, paano ka nag-apply dito sa Pilipinas?
Nag-apply po ako dito sa Pilipinas sa May Pasay, sa Mother's Way po na agency. 4 months ako dito.
Kilala ko may-ari niya, si Ma'am Victorino, Mary May.
Opo, kasi yan si Ma'am Mary May po, ano siya, kapatid siya ng kasi yung husband ko, parang auntie niya. So, nirecommend. Nirecommend po ako dito.
Kapapangan husband mo?
Opo. Ilocano.
Kapapangan niya si Mary May eh.
Ilocano po. Ilocano, ewan ko ba. Kasi
anyway, baka kamag-anak niya somewhere. Anyway, go ahead. Ngayon, ano nangyari?
And then yun po, September 14, nakalipad na ako, may amo na ako, nasa Hong Kong na ako September 14, and then nagtrabaho ako kay Miss Lam. Yung first na amo ko po is 1 year and 8 months. So sa pagtatrabaho ko din sa kanila, sir, is so grabe stress kasi baby nga. Sa akin okay lang po kasi baby, kailangan talagang patulugin ng yung late na sa gabi kasi laging umiiyak. Tapos pero yung ano ko lang sa kanila kasi nagtanong ako parang sinabi ko sa kanila ba na nang hangyo ko, kabalo mo ka magbisaya, sir, nang hangyo ko, I beg them, I beg them, na kanang kuan ba, kanang pwede ba ko mag-rest for a while habang the baby is kanang natulog pagbuntag.
Teka, papaminaw to. Taga-din ka ba? Taga Cebu ba?
Taga-Jensen, sir. Taga-Jensen.
Jensen. Binisaya di ay. Okay, Bisaya di ay. Kunya, nang hangyo kasi amuha na kung mahimo ka magkuhan. Mahimo ka mag-rent out.
For a while.
Mag-rest.
Oo, sa udto lang pag matulog pag matulog ang baby kay kuan lagi kapoy kaayo gikan sa gabi alas 12 matulog ang bata niya umata ko alas 2 sa kadlawon niya alas 4 na pud so kanang kuan kaayo ko kanang kapoy kaayo ba
lisod kaayo bitaw
wala ko gipayagan nila. Wala ko gipayagan yang ako syempre gusto na ko makahumanog. Gusto kong makatapos ng ng kontrata kaya okay lang yun sa akin. Okay, gano'n, nagtiis. And then sir, pagka nagkasakit ako doon, tapos pina-hospital nila ako, binigyan ng gamot, and then wala pa ring rest until May 8, sir. Sabi ko sa amo ko, kasi rest day ko yun, sabi ko na, ma'am, baka pwedeng malate lang ako ng kasi 8 p.m. yung curfew hour. Sabi ko, ma'am, baka pwedeng malate ng 9:30 lang kasi gusto ko talaga mag-rest. And then hindi ako pinayagan. So ang ginawa ko po kasi para ako
nga naman unsay ilang rason?
Dilig daw kaya kasi po pinapatrabaho pa nila ako during rest day ko. Kailangan babalik ako sa curfew ko kasi pinapatrabaho pa ako. Kailangan ko pang liguan
Ayun
ng
pa.
bata. Yeah, I need to take care the baby every time I go back home from my rest day. And I
Pero
need
ang
to
bata
feed it.
lang, pero ang bata lang imong ginatrabaho dili lagi dili ka mug limpyo ng balay o
Limpyo
luto
gihapon.
o
I
aw
still do working on the mopping the floor every morning and then in the evening and then mamilo pa ko. Tidy up the clothes.
in short do ano overwork ka unya.
Overwork kanya. As in kanang mura na ko og tuwa dili na ko makaistorya og tao pati sa akong family kay bawal ang cellphone niya. Nagproblema ko sa akong bana ato na time so wala ko nag-uli sa akong amo kay gikapoy na gud kog mayo so stress sir anak ko niya. Wala pa gid nakasabot akong amo niya mao to kanang May 8 wala ko nag-uli and then pagka May 9 ako 7 AM sa start sa akong work nag-uli ko para magtrabaho. Pataningon sila
Pila na ba
na-terminate
pila na ba edad ng imong kuan? Mga tiguang na ba? Pila na edad ng imong mga amuha?
45 and 46 na akong amo.
Mao gani. Oh.
Mm.
Anyway, according to Peter, you are not allowed to work during statutory holidays and during Sundays. Am I correct,
Yes,
Peter?
sir.
Peter, are you still there, Peter? Wow. Yeah. And we are speaking in another dialect, which is Visayan. And according to her, she's being forced to work even during her rest day and even after working hours, something like that.
I understand very what the issue is, so I would like to explain. A helper is entitled to 24 hours rest period. However, what is happening, for example, in the case of Mary, has to look after the child after midnight of Saturday night. Therefore, she's actually from midnight to perhaps o'clock in the morning, which is in fact not her duty because it's a 24-hour rest period. Unfortunately, many helpers are such they don't get proper rest. They're forced to work like 16 hours a day. It is most unfair. So the parents look after the child on Saturday night, during the hours of the morning of Sunday. Then many helpers like Mary are required to do work in the house before they can go out. The employers impose an illegal curfew and come back at 5 o'clock or 7 o'clock into the house again. Now, technically,
That's what she said.
after the first 3 helpers are not aware. They may charge their employer for working on a statutory holiday and day. It is their prerogative to charge for a helper like not the right to pay a pittance of like $12 per hour, which is the basic salary because of the long hours that many would actually say willing to work on my day, you pay me $60 or $100 per hour. It is totally under the right of life whether she works or not. But in the first months, the employer must give the holidays, and specifically the statutory holidays within the first 3 months. The helper cannot claim money and the employer cannot pay. They are required to give the statutory holiday. And give that holiday. It is a criminal can be charged. So one other helper, Angie, where we took the employer to court, she was fined $6,000, ordered to $1,000, and she got a criminal conviction. So I hope that answers the question.
Okay, let me No, balik ako kay Marie. Marie, usa na pagka humani mo sa ano, mobalhin ka ng employer, Kron, di ba? O
Oo,
ba?
kato sir, katong wala ko ni gi-terminate na ko nila, gihatod ko nila sa agency, tapos ingon ang agency sa ako dili daw ko, hindi nila ako bibigyan ng 1 month of notice kasi mali daw yung ginawa ko. Tapos yung employer ko hindi ako binigyan ng pera, wala. Pati air ticket, wala. Tapos basta sadyang iniwan na lang nila ako sa agency, tapos yun, sabi ng agency ibibigay daw nila kasi noon daw wala pa daw, close pa daw yung board pa, so hindi pa nila ako mabibilhan ng ticket. So yung ginawa ko na nag-board pa ako noon kasi hindi ko pa nakilala noon sila Sir Peter. And then one of my friend named Karen, he know about Sir Peter. So nagkakilala kami ni Sir Peter nang dahil sa kaibigan ko, and then si Sir Peter and then Ma'am Merly, I'm so thankful to them because they are very helpful for me, like kasi walang ako noon, walang kapera-pera kasi terminate nga, and then sila yung tumulong sa akin kung paano pumunta ng labor conciliation para i-schedule kami. And then kahit wala akong pera, si Ma'am Merly at talaga si Sir Peter, sila yung nagsama sa akin kasi wala akong kaalam-alam. And then yun, hanggang sa nag-conciliation si Sir Peter at ako ang atubang sa akong employer, and then wala gihapon sila, hindi pa rin sila hindi pa rin sila natakot. And then that time Sir Peter told my ex-employer that I will be signed for a prosecution witness, and then we will move to the labor tribunal. And then in the labor tribunal we have a schedule that we will have a meeting on June something. Nakalimutan ko na ang date. And then sir, hindi na sila nag-attend kasi natakot sila kasi sinabi ni Sir Peter na kung mamumultahan sila kasi hindi pa rin sila nagbayad sa akin. Umabot kami ng ilang buwan noon, tapos si Sir Peter at si Ate Merly, sila nag-offer sa akin na doon na lang muna ako tumira sa shelter. Kaya yun, pero malaki yung pasalamat ko po sa kanila sir, kasi dahil talaga kay Sir Peter talagang nanalo ako sa kaso ko. At inalang ako ng immigration ng bagong visa sa new employer ko.
So, ngayon nasa Pilipinas ka na?
Opo. Kasi nagkaroon ako nagka-employer ko ulit, sir, sa Hong Kong kasi hindi ako pinauwi noon kasi pandemic. And then, nung second employer ko, sir, masaya. Sa una, sinabi ko yung bad experience ko sa first employer ko. And then, okay lang naman sila. And then, nung una, masaya, first 3 months. And then, after 4 months, yung girl, sir, yung babaeng employer ko, mapanakit sa mga anak niya. Grabe sa manakit sa mga anak niya. So, alam ko kasi sa Hong Kong is bawal yun eh, yung sasaktan mo yung anak mo. And then, tinap ko yung amo ko kasi grabe, for almost 2 hours, ang bata laging umiiyak, sinasaktan niya, pinapalo ng hanger. Tapos, yung book, kasi yung bata umiiyak, galit na galit ang mama kasi hindi marunong mag-spelling ang 6 years old. And then, kinuha niya yung book, tapos hinit sa ulo ng bata. So, para akong nagalit ako kasi mama din ako eh. Pero kasi employer ko siya, I tapped her back and then I said, "Ma'am, calm down please. Kasi pwede namang pag-usapan na lang." And then, she's angry to me. Yeah, and then Oo, nagalit siya sa akin. Sabi niya pag ulitin ko pa daw yung gano'n, i-terminate daw ako. Tapos sabi ko na, "Ma'am, kasi hindi dapat yung gano'n. I'm also a mother and I know also how to discipline the kids in a good way, and then sa kanya kasi parang normal na rin yun kasi nurse yung second employer ko. And then sabi ng lalaki, anuhan ko lang daw, parang i-ignore ko na lang daw yung amo ko. And then, hindi ko alam na meron na pala silang plano na i-terminate ako, sir, sa second employer ko. So, 4 months lang ako sa kanya, terminate ako. So, ang ginawa ko, kasi may video ako sa bata na parang takot nagsumbong sa akin na yung mama niya, sinasaktan siya. Tapos binidyo ko ba, sir? And then pumunta ako sa police kasi pinakita ko kay Sir Peter. And then, in-advisean ako ni Sir Peter na pumunta ako sa police. So, 4 na CID yung nag-interview sa akin doon. Tapos, pinakita ko lahat ng video. Talagang galing alas 8 ng gabi hanggang alas 11 po ng gabi doon sa interview lang. Tapos, yun, yung amo ko, in-interview nila. Ewan ko lang kung nakulong yata ng 1 night. And then, nung pag-terminate din nila sa akin, sir, hindi din ako binayaran ng ticket. At saka 1 month of notice. Tapos, ang second agency ko doon sa Hong Kong is okay siya kasi pinaperson niya na kailangan bayaran ako. In-explain ng Chinese din na owner ng agency. And then yung employer ko hindi talaga, ayaw niya talaga. And then nag-conciliation na naman kami. Tapos ayaw nila pa rin magbayad. And then napunta sa labor tribunal. Ito yung parang natakot ako kasi sila talaga sa second employer ko, nag-appear talaga sa labor tribunal. And then last part, mali pa rin sila kasi sabi ng judge kasi the helper must have 24 hours rest day. Kasi sila din, pinapatrabaho din nila ako pag rest day ko. Pero sa akin, okay lang kasi gusto ko lang naman magtrabaho. Pero yun na lang kasi ano siya sa mga anak niya, 2 anak niya. Yung grabe siya mag-hit sa mga anak niya. Kaya yun.
Sa buong mundo, bawal yan manakit ng anak ngayon.
Sinasaktan niya. Grabe, paiyakin niya yung mga anak niya. And then, nung 4 months, sir, na naghintay pa rin ako kasi may case ako. Doon ako sa shelter. Pagdating ko naman sa shelter, sir, parang nagkagulo kasi iba na yung namahala doon. Hala, grabe, magulo everyday. Tapos, ang pangit lang kasi doon kasi yung mga kasama ko sa shelter is yung bagong leader, naninigarilyo, tapos laging magulo kasi yung mga nasa shelter is, di ba, mga na-terminate. Kasi hindi ka makatulog ng maayos kasi malakas ang sound. Tapos kung ako yung magigitar, ayaw nila. Parang pangit na pangit na ang treat nila sa akin. And yun, parang sabi ko, para na akong mamamatay. Na-stress na nga ako sa amo ko. Parang ma-stress na din ako sa shelter.
Kano siya kang umuli dito sa Pilipinas? Kano siya? Kaya bulan?
Sir, June 9, 2002, 2003 man yata. Ewan ko, nakalimutan ko na.
Dili. Pagkauli mo, kano siya?
Mag-1 year namin ko. June 9, 2002. Nandito. 2000. June 9.
2002, unsa ka ba? 2023 na ron?
Well, mag-1 year naman ko diri. Karong June.
Hindi 2022. Dili 2002.
2022, sorry.
Ay talaga tayo eh. 2022. Unya, pero kaluoy naman imong kinabuhi diha sa Hong Kong day, no?
Grabe, walay swerte.
Si exam ko, no? Bitaw? Bisag sa imong mga kauban sa shelter, murag na naay mental problem.
And then
Murag
sir,
binuang.
even the priest, in the shelter,
Oh,
I
oh.
always keep talking that my problems ana God, and then magsumbong ko sa iyaha, and then iyaha lang gyapong labanan ang katong namahala sa shelter. Ingon siya sa ako ana, dili daw pwede magsigarilyo, and then mag-inom, and then miskang ginasumbong nako ang katong mga kauban nako, kay ako lang man ilang initan, sila gyapon ang kampihan.
Aw,
So walay ayo.
pare na yan, ha?
Then yun ang ginawa ko, umalis ako, nag-board na lang ako. Sabi ko, doon ko na lang hihintayin yung ano ko, yung yung case ko, and then after that, uuwi na ako ng Pinas.
Pero 'di ba
Sabi,
sa kuan sa ang Hong Kong consulate natin na ay kuan, na ay shelter. Nga naman dedikadihan mo to.
wala ko kabalo, sir ba? Wala na ko nabala na naa sila'y shelter.
Na lagi. Bisag
Ang
ang atong polo na ay welfare center. Basta ay polo na ay welfare center.
ang nabala naman gud nako is church lang. Church.
Di, church. Unya, wala na may silbi. Pa-church pa.
Lagi,
Pastil.
lagi, sir, oy. Grabe, every
Wala na may
night,
kwan.
every
may
night
silbi.
maghilak ko. Every night
Oo,
maghilak kay lisod kaayo
Oo,
nya
nga eh.
naagod ko'y tulo ka anak, sir. Unya single mom good ko, kay pag first lagi na ko nga amo tong nagkuan mi, nagka problema mi. Wala man ko'y time na sa family.
Ang imong bana asan ron? Asa ka ron?
Ang akong
Bana.
unsa, sir?
Bana.
Akong bana naminyo naman ulit, sir.
Sumakabilang bahay.
Mm.
Maugani. Normal naman diri sa Pilipinas yan. Especially pag nag-abroad yung babae, lumilipat ang bahay yung lumilipat ang bahay yung kanyang husband. Anyway, I'm very sad for you, no, na gano'n nangyari. Pero nakuha mo naman lahat ng benepisyo mo na dawat ka na lang tanan ng imong mga benepisyo, ticket, kana.
Ang 1 month job duty, sir, na dawat na nako, tapos ang tickets or tickets na dawat na nako. Pero ingon sila na dawaton sa OWA ba to? But wala pa na ko nadawat. Wala pa, sir. Wala ko kabalo sa ang pag-process.
Dili. Kanon, ganito, no? Tudloan ti ka, ha? Pagka money claims, sa NLRC ka mag-file. Meron ka bang unpaid salaries?
Sorry, sir?
Na ba kayo unpaid salaries, unpaid wages and salaries in overtime?
Wala na paid na
Tanan. May pinirmahan ka sa polo o sa consulate na yon ay natanggap mo na ang imong tanan na salary, wala na kayo reklamo. Kay dokumento pinirmahan ka na paminaw.
Wala ba yun? Gikan lang, sir, sa kuan sa Hong Kong labor.
Okay, wala problema. Sige. So, kung wala ka pinirmahan, okay, pwede ka pa mag-file ng case, no? Here's the rule. You can still file a case at POEA within 3 years of your arrival, from 3 years of your arrival in the Philippines. You can file a case at POEA for administrative charges against your former employers. 1. You can still file for money claims for unpaid wages or unexpired portion of your contract from NLRC. Okay?
NLRC.
Tapos number 3, kung ikaw ba mubayad ng imong ticket, ikaw mo palit ang imong ticket o employer nimo?
Ang employer na ko ang naghatag og ticket pa uli.
Okay. So hindi ka na pwede mag-claim noon. But anyway, ganito the law says whatever your employer or employers fail to provide, okay, the agency must provide. In the Philippine agency. Yun yung katawagin ng joint and several liability. Okay? Unpaid wages, unpaid overtime, kung overwork ka, o yung bibigyan ka lang and then may extra pa yun, no? May extra pa yun. Now, for example, hindi ka nag-medical ka, ikaw nagbayad ng hospitalization and medicine mo, pwede mo rin i-reimburse yun sa insurance company. For every year, pila katuig ang imong kontrata? 2 years?
2 years po.
Pila ka bulan ka sa Hong Kong?
Mag 3 years ko pero mag 3 years, sir.
Years. So nag-expired na yung yung OFW insurance mo.
OFW insurance. Dili na siya gina-renew every contract, sir?
Dili. After 2 years of your contract, you have to renew that Because if you renew that and pay the premium, actually dapat yung employer mong babayad doon, hindi ikaw. Pero again, you can still blame that to your agency na why did they not ask the employer or their partners in Hong Kong to pay that? Because that should be renewed. Okay, that's one.
Insurance na pero natapos yung second employer.
Wala problema yun. Whether it's the first or the second employer, PUEA will determine kung tama o mali yung ginawa mo. Now, doon sa second employer nimo, nikato ka sa kuan sa consulate para pumirma ng bagong kontrata o dili?
Wala, sir. Sa agency lang ko.
Alam mo, that's a violation of your agency in Hong Kong, which is equally the violation of your agency in the Philippines. Now, they should verify that new contract accordingly so that if anything happens to you, halimbawa, magkaroon ng alam ng Philippine Consulate or ng POLO, kung tawagin natin yung POLO or WMO, Migrant Workers Office, alam nila kung saan kanila i-locate. Yung ganon. Anything happens in Hong Kong. Monitoring ba? Nagkaroon, failure of monitoring, kung tawagin yan. Anyway, hihingin ko yung mga dokumento mo from Pieter about how to help you, ha? Hihingin ko rin yung at para tabangan tika kung mga steps how to help you in both PUEA, NLRC at saka sa OWA. Okay? Para bigyan ka rin kung kailangan mo ng financial assistance for livelihood program. We will try to approach the management of OWA for their integration. Pero medyo marami akong I have my dear Pieter, I can see a lot of violations done by both foreign recruitment agencies in Hong Kong, which in effect, like I said, by the rule of our labor law, is automatically the violation of the licensed recruitment agency partner here in the Philippines, yung Mother's Way nga. Okay? So, maraming failure of marami ako nakasama. Although, like I said, kaibigan ko may-ari niyan. The owner of that agency is my good friend. And I think if she knew what happened to you, she might have done something for you. But I will try to contact her and tell her if she could fix your problem without the necessity of going to POEA. We will try to make this solution extrajudicially, as they call it. Now,
And
if
sir,
not,
can I speak for a while about the agency in the Philippines?
yes.
Kasi ayoko naman kasing manira pero sir nung nag-training kasi kami sa kanila sir, ang dami-daming mga Filipina doon na nandun nakahilaran lang sa sa natutulog sa karton lang kasi nagtatrabaho sa kanila for training, and then kagaya namin noon lugaw lang tapos 2 beses lang kumain sa isang araw tapos kinukulong kami doon sa kanilang bahay.
hindi. Training yun dahil ang Chinese by nature lugaw sa umaga kinakain talaga. Ano yun? Ako I'm part Chinese, that's why I know. Training yun.
Mm.
Pero yung natutulog sa karton, bawal yun. Kinakailangan they should have proper sleeping quarters naman. Huwag naman karton. I mean, para naman kayo nasa pabrika. No? Mali naman
Yun
yun.
kasi malaki ang bahay nila, and then basta ang
Oo,
dami doon.
malaki bahay sa Pasay. Alam ko, taga Pasay yun eh.
Oo. Doon
Diba?
kami nagtitraining. Opo.
Perting Takua ang balay niya sa Pasay eh.
Parang
Oo.
palasyo.
Oo. Alam ko. Kasi dati ako pupunta dyan nung hindi pa ako naka-wheelchair. Palagi ako sa bahay niya. Tapos, yun na nga, nung siguro nakuha niya na yung kailangan niya sa akin, tinerminate niya na yung consultancy job ko sa kanya. But then, she's not a bad person, ha? She's, yun nga lang, maaaring yung mga staff niya, yung gano'n, napabayaan ang sitwasyon mo. Parang. So, anyway, I hope, yun na nga, siguro, alam mo, ito yung pangalan ko sa Facebook. I-friend mo ko sa Facebook tapos i-account ko siya. I will contact her and then tell her na ano ba pangalan mo sa Facebook?
Binaliktad ko po yung pangalan. Apo.
Hindi, i-message mo na lang ako sa Facebook. Sabi mo tayo yung nag-usap sa radio program, no? And then, tudlo at tikat kung paano natin maayos ang imong problema sa imong agency. Kasi sometimes sa agency pala naayos na eh. Hindi na tayo kinakailangan pumunta pa ng POEA, NLRC, or OWA, yung gano'n, para magkaroon pa ng problema.
Kailangan ko pa din sir pupunta ng agency. Parang matatakot ako doon.
Hindi naman. Sasamahan kita kung gusto mo. Sasamahan kita.
Matatakot ako doon.
Huwag ka mag-alala. Pagpasama mo ako, hindi ka aanahin doon. I will be there to accompany you. Basta't, or yun nga, baka nga hindi na kinakailangan ko, baka hindi na kinakailangan sumama ka pa eh. Basta't I just need some documentations coming from you, okay? While you were away, my dear friend and co-anchor Pieter, I was telling our good guest here to send me all the necessary, and if he could also send me the necessary documents that would help me approach the owner of the agency, because I know the owner of the agency myself. And if the owners would start trying to be funny, then that's the time I will start helping her go to POEA or DMW so that she could file the necessary cases. Sometimes, there are a lot of times, no? In fact, more often, I first talk to the agency owner or the agency. And most of the time, I get, just like you, no? Most of the time, I get what I ask for. You have to pay this, you have to do that, you know. And like I said, she's a fellow Rotarian, by the way, like me. So I'm very sure she will be fair, and she will look for most of the things that will be beneficial for you and her. Okay, but there is no promises. I have not talked to her yet. In fact, I have not talked to her for many years now. No,
Mm-mm.
not many years, many months now. I only see her on some major Rotary functions, but I do not talk to her that much. But that being said, uh, uh, I would like to get enough documents so that we will be properly documented. I don't want to march to her office and then I do not know what I'm talking about.
Mm-mm.
Okay?
Okay.
Mawgani day, ha? Kabalo na ka sa tanan day, ha? Una, naghalo kalamay na atong Bisaya tay. Naging Ilonggot Cebuano di ay. Kabalo, ano yan eh. Ilonggo yan eh. Oh.
Oo. Ilonggo,
Mas
Bisaya.
maayaw mag Cebuano kaysa sa Ilonggo. Pero kamaw ka naman mag Cebuano, di ba? Kaya halos pareho
Opo,
lang
opo.
naman, di ba?
Opo.
Oh, okay. Anyway, yun, nawala na naman ang ating host, no? Dahil hindi maganda yung signal niya eh. Kaya pala klaro ang imong signal dahil nianak pala ka sa diri sa Manila. Taga din ka karon nasaan ka karon? Karon. Sa
Dito po
Jensan.
ako sa Jensan.
Uy, mayo signal sa Jensan ha. Mayo.
Na may wifi. Maayo ang signal.
Kasi karon diri sa Manila, sus, patay sindi, magulo. Bisag bisag mo kusog pa imong imong wifi, wala. Patay sindi ay. Nga naman, sige kawat ang mga yawa ng mga ng kable. Sige, hindi na po putol yung signal. Daghan mga kawatan diri sa Maynila ron, paita. Sa gabi pa nila gikawat ang mga kable sa mga wifi o sa cable TV. Usahay, wala ako'y cable, wala ako'y internet. Ay pala, butang ako sa provider. Nga naman wala ako'y kuwan. Ay wala sa may gikawat di ay ang atong kuwan, kable ha.
Gikawat na di ay.
Sus, daghan lagi. Kaya kawawa ron ang mga cable companies at internet providers kay sige kawat itong mga yawa ng mga naman ang taas karon ng kuan ng per kilo ng copper.
Ay,
di ba ang kable
mo day mangawat na
dahil gipa stop ni Tatay Digong ang kuan ang mining ng mga copper or bisag unsa. Di ka dapat pwede basta na lang mag-mining kung wala kay maayong program para sa mga indigenous people. Stop niyan. Ayun. Wala karong copper. Ngayon, ang unsay source ng copper? Yun, mga wire. Yun. Sige, kawat ang wire. Hello, my friend. It's good to be back. So, we're somehow on the last chapter of our discussion with our first guest. How about our second guest? Where is she?
The second guest, not yet. Let's continue a bit further with Mary.
Okay.
Has Mary talked about the shelter in Hong Kong that she stayed in?
Yes.
Yeah,
she did.
I already.
How the second employer was deliberately physically mishandling the children. And then when she tried to stop it, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
I filed a case with the police. I filed the case with the police and with social welfare. The employer was most upset, but we got the settlement we were looking for, and clearly, fortunately, the from COVID, overwork, depression.
Because she's
The social
nurse.
So that's the psychological, uh, what do you call that? Prognosis or analysis?
That's my analysis, but the social welfare accepted all the evidence that the nursing employer works in with and she needed counseling.
Your signal is starting to be funny
Did you hear
again.
that?
Yeah, well, it was clear. It was clear. It was clear. Yes.
I said the employer of counseling that was decided by social welfare. I've
Yeah,
handled
we
cases
heard
where
that part
we've
very
referred
clearly.
cases.
Very clearly. Yes, we heard that part. You were able to verbalize that part very clearly.
I said perhaps it also talk what happened to her friend who I got $20,000 compensation for rapid termination. Perhaps Mary could hear that story.
Okay. Thank you very much for helping her. Because that is important. So eventually, if I may ask, she was able to get both benefits and entitlements from both employers. Am I correct?
Of course, the first lawyer actually decided on appear in court and be featured in the newspapers.
You know, like I said, you should be using an earphone to avoid this kind of distortion.
Okay, I'll hear from hold on.
Yeah.
Sir,
Okay.
can I speak? Sir
Oh,
Peter,
yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. You have the
Sir Peter
authority.
mentioned my friend because my friend is the one, parang siya ang bridge namin dalawa ni Sir Peter na nagkakilala kami. Yung friend ko din po, na-terminate din yun siya kasi nag-run away siya kasi yung ginawa ng employer sa kanya, pinapintura ang buong bahay. Parang sobrang pinapintura ang buong bahay ng employer doon sa Shatin. And then one of my friend name is Karen. She painted the house, the whole house, and then she also cleaned the aircon. Yeah, before last 2019, and then she get depressor and then run away, and then she marami siyang mga gamot galing sa amo niya, sir, na ininom kasi gusto na niyang mamatay. Oo, tapos and then nakilala niya si Sir Peter, pero yung mga ginawa niya noon na pagtatrabaho na pag-painting, tapos maraming pinapagawa na mga breach of contract, sir. Lahat yun may video yon, at saka pagka-run away ng kaibigan ko, wala siyang ibang napuntahan kundi ako lang nung nag-board ako. Parehas na kami na-terminate, and then nakilala niya si Sir Peter, and then tinulungan siya ni Sir Peter. Tapos na ano siya, na bigyan pa din siya, parang nanalo pa din siya, pero hindi sila nag-conciliation kasi yung amo kinausap ni Sir Peter in personal. The employer and my friend Karen, yeah, they are talking in personal, and then Sir Peter talks very polite to the employer of my friend, and then the employer was scared that time. So they go together to the labor tribunal and then make some letter for a compensation to my friend employer, to my friend, but then the all the videos are already deleted because the employer already pay all the compensation.
Mhm.
Pero yung
Ganun ba?
kaibigan, yung kaibigan ko, sir, hindi siya umuwi, nasa Hong Kong pa din siya until now.
Ano malaki nakuha niya?
Malaki na, parang 19 almost 20,000 Hong Kong dollar. Marami na talaga yung natulungan si Sir Peter, sir. That's
Oo
why
naman.
I'm so thankful to meet them, especially Ate Merly,
Yes.
his wife. They
Oh.
are so kind.
One good thing about your Sir Peter is he is not even asking a single
Yes, sir. Yes,
dollar
sir.
for
Yes,
his
sir. That's
service or
true.
of helping you. That's
Mm.
why yes
Even before I
we
have
have to
no
be thankful
money
for
for the
him.
fare, they
Yeah.
are the one uh providing, and then sometimes we eat. They are the one will libre us kasi wala akong
Okay.
pera, wala talaga
Paying
akong
for the food.
kapera-pera.
Yeah, they are kind-hearted couple. Yes.
Yeah, the couple.
Okay, I see. Okay, so still no news, my dear friend Peter, about our second guest. Where, as they say in Mandarin, "Hai mei o
The
tao
se-
ma."
that is
Okay.
Juliet. I don't know what happened to her. I would go offline because the picture has gone. I will log out. I will try to call her and then I will come back in. The connection is very bad to
Okay.
StreamYard.
No. But now your connection is perfect. When you put
But I have no
the
picture.
head, no, you have,
But I have no picture.
you have video.
I
You have your
Okay,
video is
now it's
appearing.
okay. Okay, now it's
Perfect.
appearing, but it's not a full screen.
Yes.
It's not a full screen. I cannot see the whole screen. I
Oh,
don't know what's
really?
happened here.
I think it's your
Yes,
internet connection.
it's not. Oh, now it's back.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's your internet connection. But anyway, I was now you're gone again. Anyway, alam mo, talaga internet ngayon talaga dahil siguro Mother's Day eh. Kaya
Mothers. Yeah.
kaya punong-puno ng Mother's Day greeting ang Mother's Day greeting ang mga ang internet kaya nagkakaleche-leche karon. Paita lagi ay. Pila na edad ng imong mga bata di ay.
Na
Day.
anak ko ay
Ang
10
imong
years
mga anak.
old, and 10, 9, at saka 6 years old.
Oh. O
Mm.
mga bata pa.
Opo, mga bata pa.
Tapos, tapos iniwan ka ng asawa mo sa sarap naman sa pukin niya. Ilan na ba edad ni mo Ronday, if you don't mind my asking?
32. 32 ko, sir, katong May 8 lang akong birthday.
Uy, belated happy birthday. Nag-celebrate
Thank
ka
you.
ba? Baka naman hindi ka nag-celebrate. Kailangan dapat nagse-celebrate ka pagka birthday ni mo.
Nag-celebrate
32.
man yap, nag-celebrate og tahi sa balay. Gatahi man gud ko,
Ay,
sir.
budista di ay ka?
Gatahi. Yeah,
Tahi.
gatahi. Tahi makina.
Budista. Ba, bitaw.
Oo.
Sa Katsila, budista.
Mm.
Modista. Ayun.
Kay wala man ko
Okay.
income, wala naman ko trabaho. So, ana na lang akong ginabuhat.
Yes. Oo. Okay, sandali lang ha. Sandali lang. Kuan. Well, be that as it may, kuha naman, yung asawa mo, wala, hindi mo na alam. Hindi mo na alam ng
Hindi ko na po alam. Hindi ko na po alam. Hindi na kami nagkita since naghiwalay.
Hindi mo alam kung nasa aron.
Yun siya po yung pamangkin ni Ma'am Mary. Mary, sa Mother's Way po.
Mary Victorino. Oo.
Apo.
Tama. Okay, wala namang problema yan. Yun na nga lang, medyo siguro talagang wala, talagang how do we say that? Talagang mabigat ang nangyayari ngayon.
Walang swerte po.
Oo nga eh. Anyway, ganun talaga ako. Kaya swerte-swertehan lang yan. Pero wala ka ng balak magkuhan. Wala ka ng balak mag-abroad pa.
Gusto ko pa rin po sa Hong Kong pa din. Gusto ko pa din bumalik ng Hong Kong kasi maganda po sa Hong Kong.
Pero hindi ka ba what you call this? Hindi ka ba what you call this? I just instructed Julia to log in. Oh, ayan. Anyway, hindi ka ba blacklist naman ng employer mo o something?
Hindi naman po siguro kasi alam ng immigration lahat po ng ng files from the first employer up to the second employer. Kaya nga po habang may case kami na hinihintay, ina-allow nila kami ng visitor visa doon sa Hong Kong. And then after that, ina-advise nila kami na before matapos ang visitor contract, we need to find a new employer to have a 2 years visa again.
Pero pauwi ka muna sa Pilipinas para i-apply yung visitor.
Opo, kasi almost 3 years na din ako doon. So kailangan na mag-exit.
Okay. Sige, tingnan natin. Like I said, hihingi natin yung what you call this, yung how do you call this, yung yung requirements ng yung documentations, no, ng yung employer at yung mo rin yung ikaw, no, para how do you call this, para matulungan ka ng maayo sa imong problema. At hopefully habang hinihintay natin si Juliet, hopefully maayos natin yung problema mo, no? At like I said, pagka sabi ko nga sa iyo, hindi naman problema makipag-usap sa mga agencies eh. May mga agencies na cooperative naman. In fact, kilala ko yan si Mary May. And for a time, talagang matulungin naman yan. At magulang yan. Yun nga lang, talagang gano'n. Wala tayong magagawa eh. Baka yung mga staff niya yung nagpabaya sa'yo, hindi siya. Parang gano'n. Anyway, I will inform her about you. But Peter, I hope you don't mind sending me either through our group chat or through our all the necessary documents that I need to present to the owner of her Philippine agency so she could be helped. Now, if the Philippine agency would start being arrogant about helping her, then that's the time I will bring the matter to POEA, NLRC, and OWA. There are three agencies she needs to go through in order to get everything she deserves, as far as our law is concerned.
Actually, Mary has all the records.
Okay. O, meron na, para mo ang mga records eh. Ganito tayo. Kung naay internet shop diha, ipa-scan nimo ha, ayaw ko yung screenshot ra ha. Ispa-scan
Opo.
nimo usa-usa, kada dokumento ipa-scan nimo. Unya, ibutang nimo as scan. Yan, you're still there. We still have you, Peter, don't worry.
Yes.
Ipascan mo PDF
Mary
file.
has.
No, I'm telling Mary what to do now with her files.
Okay.
Peter. Sa PDF file format nimo ipagawa. Parang libro, one by one document para isang compilation na lang. Unya
Opo.
tapos ihatag i-try to i-kuan mo sa akin yung email mo sa akin. Ihingin mo na lang kay Sir Peter yung email ko. Ibibigay niya sa'yo. Okay?
Opo.
Mr. Peter will give you my email address and then you please email it to me and Mr. Peter so he can also have a file in his computer. So that if ever I will try to contact her agency. Like I said, if her agency fails to act accordingly, then that's the time I will go to POEA. Okay? NLRC and OWA. Okay?
Okay, sir.
So,
Thank you.
no, don't say goodbye yet. Mamaya ka pa mag-goodbye. Hanggang
I just
ano pa
thank
tayo?
you.
You're welcome. No. This is our job. Me and my good friend and the Hong Kong correspondent and co-anchor Pieter Nootenboom. No? He is our official Hong Kong correspondent. Anything that happens in Hong Kong, he will be the one reporting to our radio station. That's why we have this. Every last Monday of every month, we have this Hong Kong Bahay OFW, Hong Kong OFW Connect because of this program. Okay? And he disappeared again. He has a very bad internet connection. Hinihintay lang natin si Juliet para siya naman na magkwento, kamukha ng kwento mo sa amin. Okay? Magwa lang tayo, mag-station break lang tayo sandali ha. At sandali lang, wag kang mawawala ha. Mag-station break lang tayo, ha? Ano ba nangyari dito? Okay.
DWRB News FM 103.9 ang himpilang magbibigay ng mga impormasyon sa larangan ng edukasyon, kalusugan, pangsakahan, kapaligiran, musika, natatanging kaalaman at mga pinakahuli at sariwang balita sa loob at labas ng bansa. DWRB News FM ang himpilang ikaw ang una. Ikaw ang una. Mga pili at natatanging impormasyon mula sa himpilang DWRB News FM. Ikaw ang una. Ikaw ang una.
Bahay OFW ang programang magkakaloob sa inyo ng mga kaganapan sa kalagayan ng mga overseas Filipino workers sa buong daigdig. Bahay OFW, ang programang magbibigay daan sa mga panayam sa mga tao at ahensyang responsable, gagabay at aalalay sa mga OFW. Bahay OFW, ang programang mag-uugnay sa mga tao at ahensyang tutugon sa kanilang mga kahilingan at hinaingin para sa kanilang kabutihan at kapakanan. At ngayon, pakinggan at tunghayan natin ang inyong kasangga, si June De Vera, sa programang Bahay OFW.
Ito na naman po tayo, mga kapitbahay OFW, at ating ngayon panayam or ini-interview ang isang OFW na dating nasa Hong Kong, ngayon ay nasa Jensan. Asa sa Jensan tayo? Sa Coronadal?
Sa Jensan po, General Santos City, sa Barangay
okay.
Fatima. Malapit lang
Pero
ako
diba,
sa airport.
Coronadal sa Jensan din yan, Coronadal?
Opo,
Bitaw.
need one bus. Need to ride one bus.
Oo, kasi nakarating na ako sa Coronadal nung way back 2015-16. Naghahanap kami ng fisherman para sa Taiwan. Anyway, kaya medyo ikot ko na konti yan, Jensan. Pero din, alam mo, sa totoo lang, di masarap ang pagkain din eh. Noon ha. Wala po konti lang, kasi kakaunti lang ang mga restaurant dyan eh. At saka yung hotel dyan, why lang yung pagkaon? Murag po.
Ngayon, marami ng restaurant, marami na din po.
Siyempre, marami na turista pumupunta kasi, no? Pero sa una, pahita, oy. Nakakainis pumunta dyan. Tsaka yung bus dyan, wala pang aircon dati. Ngayon mga aircon na no?
Apo. Meron ng mga aircon.
So, my dear friend, you seem to be going on and off. Your internet connection seems to be testing your patience.
The problem
Hello,
is
my friend.
The other end, your end is cracked. Your end is crackling. There's a problem with the StreamYard connection. And then also when I have to try to reset it, I have to go out and start all over again. And also I try to contact Juliet, and then Juliet has not logged on. I've tried to explain to her again how to log on. This seems to be a problem. I think in future what I need to do is to meet people and show how to log on to get into the system for this interview.
Okay.
Clearly, it's not easy for people to log into this StreamYard.
Oh, actually, I'm not saying you are the first person who told me that, but many people are telling me that StreamYard is way better than Zoom in terms of logging in, especially if you're using an Android telephone. You only have a problem if you're using Safari web browser. But other than that, of course, I'm no expert. Sorry.
I installed as per your instruction. I installed Opera on my phone, and I'm using because my phone is iPhone. I'm using Opera to log on, which works. Safari doesn't work. That is correct.
Yes. And I am using my MacBook, and I'm using Opera actually, and I never had any problem. And Marie, on the other hand, her signal is, her place is one of the worst areas when it comes to internet. But she's not crackling. She's not having problems in connection. I'm not, of course, blaming the crackling is coming from your end, not from us. Am I correct, Mary?
Sir.
Yung maingay kakakrak yun kanina, parang nanggaling kay Sir Peter, di ba? Kanina. But by the way, now you're coming in 5 by 5. It's very nice. Your signal now is so beautiful, much better than earlier. Your voice, your
The
video,
problem, the
everything is
problem,
very nice.
the problem, the problem still Juliet to log and the other also. Have either of them logged in? I tried just now. The third one is not responding. She's online but not responding. Juliet said she's trying to log in, but she's having difficulty logging in.
Oh, I don't know, but they're not even in the backyard. I mean, background.
That's
Uh,
that's what I'm trying to tell you. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So the only person we have with us is Mary.
Okay, okay. Well, what can we
So
do?
perhaps Mary
Uh,
has perhaps Mary has some more stories she could tell us.
oh, okay. Well, why don't you yourself tell us other stories, other rules, while me and Mary would listen, that to educate our domestic workers going there in Hong Kong. What are the laws and what are the rules? What are the because since you're coming in very clear and very well.
My opinion is that all Ws should be shown a video of their accommodation before they even come to Hong Kong. The agency should check out the accommodation so the helper is aware that she will either have proper accommodation or she will sleep in the bathtub or the bathroom.
Wait a minute. May I intercede? Bathtub? Are you not kidding?
Well, there are
Bathtub?
some. I'm not kidding.
Yes, sir. There's a lot of Filipina who have like that kind of
Oh,
area to
okay.
sleep.
In the bathtub?
Yeah, sometimes in the bathroom.
Oh my gosh. I
Sometimes
don't
in
I,
the bathroom.
I don't mean to sound stupid or ignorant, but even I would never allow my help to sleep in the bathroom.
Mm.
Or of course, I don't have a bathtub in my bathroom, no, because I'm living in a condominium that has no bathtub. But although I have a bathtub, but it's a portable one. But I would not even allow my help to sleep there. I provide them their own room, their own bed, their own pillow, their own privacy, so to speak. They can do
I think
whatever they want in
I
that
I
room.
I think what you're saying
Please,
now, you're going to make you are making many OFWs in Hong Kong jealous of what you would provide, which many are not getting in Hong Kong.
really? That's how bad it is?
Really. How about
Oh
sleeping on
my
the
God.
balcony in a doghouse? How about sleeping on the balcony in a doghouse?
Oh my God. Are you kidding
Yes.
me? In a
Yes.
balcony?
No, I'm not. I'm on the balcony, outside on the balcony in a slightly large doghouse. Yes, I'm not kidding you. We
Oh
come
my
across
God.
shocking conditions. And how about another one? She had to sleep for many years working for a very prominent Indian, and there was a room, but the room was used for storage, and she was forced to sleep in the laundry and toilet room. So she had to sleep next to the washing machine and the.
That's
This is the reason
so.
why I think I This is the reason why I propose that every application for employment should attach a photo of the accommodation to be attached to the contract in order to protect the helper, and that would be her accommodation, and the employer should sign that that is the accommodation. I have the other case 2 years ago with Sherelle, who was wrongfully terminated by the employer, and we filed a case against the employer also for misconduct by the female employer to her 2 children. I filed it with social welfare. She was wrongfully terminated, and she was actually attacked by the employer in the kitchen. It was also seen by a Chinese neighbor who called 999 to call the police. Unfortunately, instead of the police charging the woman, they tried to charge the helper. Anyway, the final outcome, because I intervened in that case, the final outcome was we did get a settlement. The employer, it was a mainland Chinese, would take the 2 children into the room, lock the door, and severely beat her children black and blue. So we tried to file it with the police. The police would not take on the case without evidence. I must say DSWD in the Philippines is more efficient than the social welfare in Hong Kong. So what happened then is we pushed for the case, and I then contacted social welfare, and I gave them all the background information, where the grandmother was living, where the children were going to school, and my concern about the children. And the actual mother of the children was a mainland Chinese. So the social welfare officer took on board all my points and did a very thorough investigation, based on my suggestion to first contact the grandparents. And then what she did is they also interviewed the children at the school. The children clearly, they admitted, and what the social welfare officer then did was to interrogate the husband of the abuser, and the husband, being very religious, then confessed to the social welfare officer that his wife had just beaten the children black and blue 2 days earlier.
Jesus,
because he was a Christian. He had to admit the truth, and he said he couldn't do anything about it. So clearly a lot of families are in need of social welfare counseling right now in Hong Kong. There's so many suffering during COVID from COVID depression, and now we've got post-COVID depression. So never mind postnatal depression, we now have this sickness of post-COVID depression in Hong Kong, and many employers suffer from that and then victimize their domestic helpers. And the reason I talked about that case is because she wasn't given the accommodation as states a contract. I don't know why there's not more prosecution by the government against the employer, which didn't happen. And she was forced to sleep in the living room in front of the TV. No privacy whatsoever. Absolutely shocking. We also have many cases where people are living in a council estate, that means low-cost housing, subsidized by government, and they don't actually have a room, and they misstate the accommodation to the helper, and all they do is perhaps put a curtain in one corner, and they sleep in that section. My former very good friend, late friend, Ida Villiers-Weber, who was helping domestic helpers for many decades, she worked for an employer for 20 years, and her accommodation near the flower market in Mongkok, her accommodation was a cupboard under the staircase, and they had opened up a small hole on one side of the cupboard. So if you imagine going up from your left to the right, going up. So on the right-hand side, they opened up. So when she went inside, she could stick her feet outside to go to sleep.
Oh my gosh. So when it's cold, your feet...
So yes, and that employer was actually, both she and her husband were teachers. And she told so many amusing stories. She told us one day the employer came back and was very angry with Ida, and she said, "Ida, why didn't you tell me that my shoes are not the same color?" And Ida replied, "Oh, madam, I thought that was the fashion."
that's re- that's really what can I say? Uh,
Oh, really?
I cannot
Had
say.
so many, I had so many
I'm out
wonderful
of words. So,
stories about her.
tell us more. Tell us more, please. While waiting for Juliet, come on. Some, something funnier than that. That
Okay,
is really something. Huh? What
okay,
else?
Ida, you go down to the supermarket, the wet market. Sorry, you go to the wet market and bring back some rabbit juice.
Rabbit juice.
Rabbit juice, yes. And then so she
Okay.
went down. She couldn't get anyone to supply her with rabbit juice, and she
Okay.
went back. No, nobody's selling rabbit blood. No, Ida, it's the carrot, not the rabbit.
So, so she immediately made her employer as a Dracula or a vampire. I rabbit
She had
juice.
many
Well,
stories. Very funny. I can't remember them all.
but to begin with, it's the employer's fault. Come on, you're looking for a rabbit juice. Of course, she took it literally.
Said
So you have to
because
squeeze the rabbit and get the juice from it.
the blood from the rabbit.
Ah, I cannot. Imagine. Come on, tell us more. Tell us more. Come on now. This is really funny.
So no, no, I'm
I'm,
laughing too much.
I'm, my tears are falling down my face because of these funny stories.
Mine too.
I mean, my gosh, rabbit juice.
The issue is.
Anyway, how was she
I
terminated?
could
By
tell
the
you
way,
some, but they're not suitable. Ida?
no.
They didn't want to. Okay, in Ida's case, she finished the contract and didn't continue with the employer. And her late sister had a boarding house, and so she was sheltering abused domestic helpers. So what I did is I helped her to improve the shelter, and I signed her contract so that if anybody made any issue, she was working in my house early, and nobody could do anything to her.
So she's still there in Hong Kong
No, she went back to the Philippines. She's passed away already,
already.
sadly.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Okay. Sad to hear. Oh, how sad. The people who are, well, they said, the good spirited ones are the ones first taken, so they will not commit any more mistakes. I, I,
One
I
of the
guess I
one
still
of the
have.
biggest one of the
Go ahead.
one of the
Sorry.
biggest one of the biggest problems for domestic helpers in Hong Kong is food allowance. I'm
A
shocked
food
by
allowance. Food
the
allowance.
food allowance is 1,107. Yes, to buy their own food. If the employer doesn't provide food, then they're required to give a food allowance. The problem with the food allowance is 1,170, something like that, and it's totally insufficient. I mean, I had one case where the helper was told she wasn't allowed to cook in the house, and she was given the food allowance, and she had to buy her food outside. At that time, the food allowance was lower, so it was like $30 Hong Kong per day. How can a helper buy breakfast, lunch, and dinner outside for $30 a day? It's totally impossible. So she was using her salary to buy food. Now, many helpers have to subsidize their food from their own salary because the food allowance is totally insufficient. Either employer should provide a proper dietary food for their helper, or they should provide a food allowance. In my opinion, the food allowance should be at least $2,600 a month to be realistic. Because you've got, there are many issues. Sometimes they don't allow the helper to cook. That is also ridiculous. If you can't cook in the house, then you can't store food in the fridge. So the employment contract should really be improved, or the Philippine government should require a document to be attached to the contract which shows what is provided and what is not provided, signed by the employer.
Yes, if I may interject, with all due respects, my good friend, all household workers leaving the country, or all workers leaving the country to work in a household, the employer should provide food, no food allowance. It is not in the contract approved by POEA. Food allowance is only provided for skilled workers.
In Hong Kong, the immigration department contract, which is decades old and never been updated, allows for the employer the prerogative to not give food and to give a food allowance.
So are you telling me, okay, wait. If I may ask you, are you now telling me they are signing a contract here and then they are going to sign another contract there?
No, the contract they sign in the Philippines is the contract from the Hong Kong Immigration Department.
Okay. Now I think Juliet is here. I can let her in now. Hi, Juliet!
Hi, sir.
Oh, now she came in.
Hi,
Okay. So, i-mute mo muna yung mic mo, no? I will just finish my discussion with our Sir Peter, by co-anchor, no? Because we're talking about the rules.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. I-mute muna kita.
We're talking about the food allowance.
Yeah, yung food allowance. Makinig ka muna, Juliet, para kwan. So the contract that is being signed here is basically the contract provided by the immigration office in Hong Kong. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, correct.
Let me double check on that, because as I know, we have our own template of contract. Why I know that? Because I was one of the designers of the household service workers contract. And it never said there anything about the employer providing food allowance in any case they cannot provide food. It's like whatever the employer is eating is exactly what the worker should be eating. And that's what I do in my own house as well. Whatever I'm eating, you eat. Actually, my help, she eats beside me, He eats beside me.
That is what,
something like that.
That is what we do ourselves, and that is what I've done in the past. But the issue is what I'm explaining to you. Unfortunately, in the contract, which is from the Hong Kong Government Immigration Department, the employer has the prerogative to give a food allowance. And then some helper are not even allowed to cook. Some helper are not allowed to cook. So they have to get their friend to cook and give them the food. Is terrible. It's shocking, the condition. They're not allowed to store the food in the house. You cannot imagine. And some employers, what they do is, instead of giving the food allowance, they only give the cheapest instant noodles, which you can buy, for example, $5 a packet. So you would now spend less than the food allowance just to give the helper 3 packets of noodles per day. As you know, noodles are covered in cancer.
Are very unhealthy, yeah.
So the problem is some mean employers will do that. Some employers are so kuripot, they will give, for example, they're having seafood food and lots of prawns on the plate, and they will take the smallest one and give one piece to the helper. That was an immigration officer who is the helper is now working for my stepdaughter. Very nice lady. I mentioned her to you before. And the employers so put one little plate with a little bit of rice, a little bit of vegetable, and one prawn. And they're stuffing themselves with probably 20 prawns each. You cannot imagine how mean some people are. But of course, there are many good employers I could also tell you about.
Yes.
Sorry?
Well, anyway, I like I said, yes.
That's
It's like we're talking about the realities of life in Hong Kong. No? Anyway,
yeah.
I guess Lilibet now is finished combing her hair, trying to look beautiful on air.
Yes.
May we allow her? Well, would you mind
Yes.
introducing her and her case properly, my dear co-anchor, before we allow her to speak?
The case of Juliet is very interesting.
Her?
She worked for her. Juliet is a very nice lady from Laguna, and she has worked for the employer for over 17 years. But the employer
17?
has many.
Wow. Okay.
The employer has many illegal structures on their house, and instead of providing the accommodation that's stated in the contract, they made underneath there's an open carport. In the carport, they made a storage area, and she had to sleep in that storage area without a proper ventilation, which is very unhealthy.
Oh yes, of course.
So that is the case of Juliet, and her employer terminated the contract. They had a disagreement, but it's better Juliet will explain that. But fortunately, we were able to talk to immigration and file multiple cases against the employer. And,
she could die of carbon monoxide poisoning. Yeah.
But she's got a wonderful new employer in a very nice location. So and the immigration actually allowed her to process the new employer because of the seriousness of her case against her employer without having to go back to the Philippines. It's a special case. But let's let Juliet now explain her case.
Okay. Juliet, Juliet, you have the floor, ha? Paliwanag mo kung anong nangyari sa iyo, Juliet, para naman maintindihan namin kung ano nangyari sa iyo. Sige.
Yung about po sa employer sa nitong 17 years pa. Kasi po ganito po yung sir, nung nag-umpisa po kasi ako sa kanya year 2005. Very smooth yung relation namin until 2015, 2016 to 16, okay naman yung relation namin. And then suddenly, kasi umuwi ako noon ng 2018 dahil namatay yung mother ko. At that time, nung nagpapabook ako, naiwan ko yung passport ko sa taxi. Dito so umuwi ako noon nang wala akong passport. Hindi ko alam na sir, ang hirap. Namatay pa yung nanay ko doon. And then binigyan lang ako ng parang one way ng Philippine Consulate kasi tinulungan ako ng tita ko. Tapos nung umuwi ko ako noon, hindi ko alam na mahirap palang mag-process ng passport sa Pilipinas.
Lost passport, dahil
nag-lost passport ako. Ang daming proseso pala. Tapos nung inabot ako ng hanggang 2 months. Hindi ako ang dami ko nang pinuntahan, nagpunta ako ng Malacanang, sabi, kaya humingi ng letter sa presidente, lahat ng nasa akin. Hindi ako nakakuha. Ang nakuhanan ko lang bale, yung sa Tarlac, sa yung governor ng Tarlac sa province namin ng parang supporting letter. Doon na ako nag-process sa Pampanga. Kasi sa Manila, almost 1.5 months yata akong nagpupunta ng Manila, hindi ako nag-process doon. So yun, umabot mo, yung to make the story short, sir, nung nagalit na yung amo ko sa akin, wala naman akong magagawa.
Sino nagsabi sa'yo kinakala kumuha ka pa ng letter to the office of the president? Kalokohan naman yun. Passport lang yan eh.
Yun nga po, sir. Tapos dahil na, parang doon ko po niranakan yung BSA sa Manila, parang yung discrimination ba?
Hindi, pero kung nakalala kita noon, kaya kitang tulungan.
So, nahirapan po.
Kahit within 2 weeks, palapasin natin yung passport. Kalala tayo sa DFA. Anyway, dyan na yun. Wala tayong magagawa. Nangyari sa yan. Anyway, at least naman, nasahog mo ka ba? At least nasahog mo ka ba ngayon?
So, yun po ang naging ko sa amo ko. Kaya nagkaroon kami ng hindi na magandang relation. Bumalik ako dito noon nang nakasis yung passport ko, bumalik ako. Pero sabi niya, baka daw, if makakapasok man ako, turista ang magiging labas ko. Dahil daw, sinabi niya ay nag-report kami sa immigration na nag-break contract ako. Which is, hindi naman po ako nag-break contract ako kasi na mag-break ako na nasa Pilipinas ako. So, nag-ano po ako na parang nag-take a risk ako na pumasok ng Hong Kong. Kasi nakapasok naman ako. Tapos ko kinabukasan, nag-report po ako sa immigration. Na tinanong ko kung ongoing pa rin yung kontrata ko sa amo ko. Tapos yun po, sinabi nila na ongoing pa rin. Pero sinabi ko yung problema ko na ayaw niya akong papuntahin, pagtrabahuhin sa bahay nila kasi wala sila nasa UK sila for vacation. Pero po yung driver namin nandun sa bahay. So sa 4 months po, hindi ako nagtrabaho sana. Hindi po nila ako pinagtrabaho.
Okay.
Pero nagre-report po ako sa immigration. Then kung tapos po kasi yung kontrata ko noong 2018.
Okay.
Nawawalan na tapos ko nag-report po ako sa immigration. Sinabi ko pa rin po kung ano yung naging problema ko. Nag-advise ko yung immigration.
Kaninong agency ka umalis?
Wala po akong agency nun.
So yung unang alis mo, wala ka ng agency?
Wala po.
So name hire ka?
Opo. Parang recommend lang po sila sa akin. Kasi po nung napasok po ako sa kanya, naka-labor case.
Ha?
Nung kung unang pasok ko po kay amo ko, naka-labor case din po kasi siya nun. Pero nabilakad ko nung 2 months po ako hindi mabigyan ng visa noong 2005 na nagpa-process ako kasi pinikontak po ako naman. And yun po, ang hiningan niya po yata ng tulong nun yun sa ano ba yun, yung director po sa tax sa immigration. Kasi po may business po sila nun. Dahil ayaw po nila akong bigyan ng visa nun. Dahil may labor case siya. May labor siya nung dating katulong. And then po sa akin nun, ang nag-advise ko sa akin na i-labor ko siya, immigration officer na. Noong 2018 po, napatapos yung kontrata ko sa kanya. Then, siguro po nung nakatanggap na siya ng sulat, tinawagan na ako. Nakipag-usap ko sila sa akin. So parang nakipag-reconcile po siya. Sinabi po nila na kung magre-renew ako kasi patapos ko yung kontrata ko noon. Kung i-renew po nila, magre-renew po ako, babayaran po nila lahat ng, kasi po that time, 13 years ako sa kanila. Noong 2018 po na natapos ako. So sabi niya,
Oh.
babayaran nila lahat kasi yung 4 month salary ko. Kasi po nilabor ko siya nun.
Oh.
Pwede,
Okay.
iurong ko yung labor case ko, then magre-renew ako sa kanya. So, tinanggap ko po yan kasi parang ano ko po sila na pamilya ko na rin sila dahil nga po sa akin lumaki yung mga bata. Parang ano
Okay.
lang po na sinonsider ko sila. So, alam ko, babayaran niya po ako. Tapos yung sabi niya, nung financial ko po yung labor case ko, then sabi niya, magpirmahan muna kami, i-process ko yung papers ko, then saka kami mag-usap sa babayaran niya. Nagtiwala po sa kanya. And then po sabi niya, pag nabayaran ka na namin, then we will start a fresh start dun sa new contract namin na 2018 sana. Pero po nung nakaprocess na po ako, nabukasan, on processing pa lang po sa immigration ng papers ko, umuwi na sila ng England for Christmas holiday po. And then nung ano po, hindi po nila ako sinausap din sa dapat nilang bayaran sa akin. So pinabayaan ko po yun, inintay ko na lang po yung pagbalik nila. Kasi po nung pagbalik po nila, kinausap ko po siya. Tapos sabi niya, wala naman daw po siyang dapat bayaran sa akin. So ngayon po, sa labor, yun ang iniisip niya na fresh start kami yung 2018 and then merong termination na naganap. So wala naman po naganap. Yung kaya yun po yung lalaban ko ngayon sa labor, sa travel. Kasi po nung naghanap kami sa labor nung November 2022 po, ano siya na magbabayad siya, pero hindi siya nagbayad. Yung 48,000 po na renade niya, hindi niya po tinuloy, kaya po napunta kami ng tribunal.
Ilang buwan siya yun, bale?
Yun
Yung
po.
48,000.
Yung pong
$48,000. Ilang
ano
buwan
po
siya
yun,
yun?
yung renade po niya na yung para pong tinaas po niyang sahod. Kasi po nung 2018 na nagbalik po ako sa kanya, sinabi niya itataas yung sahod ko ng 1,000. Pero hindi po niya ilalagay.
Pero ilang buwan sahod?
So yun po yung nila.
Ilang buwan?
Bali 4 years, ano po. Kasi po 4 years na ano yun, yung dagdag sahod na 1,000. 48. Parang 8 months po na sahod ko. Kasi po 6,000 yung sahod ko sa kanya plus 1,000 na rate. So bali po 7,000 pero hindi niya binibigay yung 1,000. Bali po 6,000 lang yung nare-receive.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you very much, Juliet. My friend Pieter, she was able to relate to us exactly what transpired with her first employer. We haven't gone through the second employer yet, which I believe is doing very well right now. Okay naman yung bagong employer mo, Juliet, ano ha?
Opo, sir. Okay na, okay. Walang problema.
Okay. So, what is the status of our case, old case now? The case with the old employer, Pieter. Do you think will she win the?
Oh yes, I think she will win.
Okay. With your help, of course.
She has an excellent case against her employer. Let Juliet explain the case. It's very interesting.
Actually,
she did.
kakatapos po nung second hearing ko nung May 3.
Okay. So how many hearings more to go?
May sa August 9 po, may yung third hearing po natin sa August 9.
Okay.
6.
Usually,
6.
6. Okay.
Yes, po.
Anyway, okay. And according to her, she's collecting something like 48,000 Hong Kong dollars, according to her.
No, the case I filed is over $130,000.
Oh,
It's
ba?
almost
Bakit?
120 sir, but yes. Yung
Oh,
pong
sabi mo
48 po na
kanina,
yun sir, yung
48,000
dagdag
lang.
sahod po yung hindi po sir. Yung 48 na yun, winave niya po dati.
The 48,000 was
Pero,
only an offer of compromise to settle immediately.
yun po,
Ah, okay.
yun po sa conciliation
now,
po dati.
okay. Okay, now I got it. Now, okay. So from 127,000 or almost 130, your employer is trying to settle it amicably at 48, which is less than half of what you are entitled to.
Yes sir. And then nung hearing namin sir, binigyan kami ng judge ng chance na mag-usap kung pwede kami mag-settle kahit half nung computation nila sa kiniklaim ko. And then nag-ano ako ng 50,000.
Oh.
Ang winave po niya ay 10,000 Hong Kong dollars lang. Kaya po,
okay.
Ako yung, kaya po nung pumasok na kami ulit sa court, binasa ko ulit nung judge na, yun na po, na how come na winewave lang niya is 10,000 Hong Kong dollars nung nag-waive na sa dati ng 48,000 sa conciliation meeting namin. And then ang ng judge, how come na 10,000 Hong Kong dollars na nag-work po ako sa kanya ng 17 years. Kasi kung maangal siya na very stressful, tapos wasting time yung pag-attend nila ng kaso. Tapos yun nga po, binigyan siya ng nung judge na bakit since na-stress siya, yung ang dami na pong alibay, bakit hindi na lang niya yung sa settlement? Dahil po, hindi naman po, hindi ko na, ang sabi po ng judge, hindi ko reserve yung 10,000 Hong Kong dollars for settlement. Kasi meron pa, yung kung annual leave ko for two contract, hindi niya rin po binigay, saka yung one way and two-way air ticket ko wala pa rin. Nung umalis po ako ng 2022. Hindi niya po kasi ako binayaran. Kasi po may time, nagkaroon po ako ng problema sa immigration yung last 1 year ko po, hindi po yun na-extend. Na bali na OS po ako ng 1 year.
Okay. O sige, i-mute mo na kasi maingay paligid mo ha. Sandali ha. Okay. Okay. So Peter, I just muted her because her surroundings are exceedingly noisy. Anyway, so she said that my God, from 48, the employer even had the tenacity to bring it down to 10,000. What a character. So how do you well?
Can you mute Juliet?
I'm trying to mute her. Mic. I couldn't. Wait a minute, Yeah, now it's muted. Okay. Now, please speak. You have the floor, my friend.
Okay. So the point for Juliet is she was terminated by the employer, and the employer actually has abused her for more than a decade.
13
we
years.
filed, 17 years actually. So anyway, we have filed the case. It's I think $130,000. There are multiple claims, including.
Sabi na po, sir.
Can you mute again, please, so I can explain?
Well, she keeps. Wag mo pindutin yung unmute. She keeps on pressing unmute. Okay.
Can you ask
Juliet,
her
wag mong
to go?
pindutin yung unmute. Okay. Jesus Christ. Wag mo munang, sa gilid mo lang hawakan yung mo, Juliet. Wag mong pindutin yung unmute. Okay. Anyway. So you were saying? Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So
let me remove her for also. Yeah.
Okay, so basically the problem is the employer is actually liable to pay long service, or rather severance pay, which is the same as long service. Also, there is the rest day pay, statutory holiday. There's also the issue of the accommodation. There are multiple issues. The case, she has a very strong case. And basically what we did is we came up with an offer to settle, but the reason we came up with an offer of 50,000 was so we wouldn't waste like a year going to court. Now the point is, the employer actually 4 years ago told Juliet that she would save $1,000 a month for her. When she was in the labor office, the conciliatory office, the employer denied everything. But then when Juliet said, Mrs., I won't say the name on air because the case is ongoing, please don't tell Porky Pies. That is a saying in Europe, in England, for example, to young children. Johnny, don't tell Porky Pies. Means don't tell lies. And Mrs. So-and-so was shocked by Juliet saying that and said to Juliet, who taught you to teach English like that? And she then admitted that she had to the labor officer that she had agreed to save the $1,000 a month. So instead of 50,000, she then said, okay, I'll give you $48,000. And Juliet said, I'll think about it. So then what happened is the next day when Juliet said, okay, she'll take the 48, the employer said, I've changed my mind. My two daughters and my family said, I shouldn't give you anything. So then, of course, we proceeded with the case to Labour Tribunal Court. And it's gone through two, and the third mention is the second mention is coming up. That means the third hearing. And after this, it goes, I think it's already past that. Then it goes for a schedule for a 3-day trial. What employers don't understand is that they will spend maybe $100-something thousand to $200-something thousand in legal fees. And before we have solved many cases by pointing out to the employer, do you realize how much you're going to spend in court? And even, of course, the judge will say to and intimidate the helper and will say, do you know, if you lose this case, you will have to pay your employer. And they really rub it in, and most helpers will be very scared by that, and they will give up the case. But in Juliet's case, she'll continue. The point is, she has a good case, A, and B. Well, I'm not sure if anybody's discovered the way how to get blood from a stone. You can't get money from a domestic helper who has no assets, who has no money. So why not go all the way and fight the employer for all your rights? And so this is exactly what Juliet is doing. So she's welcome to fight and try to get money, but she'll, even if she could, in the chance of an offset of a miracle, I don't think the employer's got a hope in hell, because the judge can already see the way the case is going, and that the employer has told multiple fibs in court about the employment, and has breached the employment ordinance by not providing Juliet with a proper accommodation. I mean, the accommodation alone is shocking. It's absolutely shocking that people can claim that they are providing an accommodation which isn't provided. That is why I've said before, the government should actually insist to have an attachment to the contract that shows a picture of the accommodation, and signed by the employer that he will also respect all the rights of the helper to her statutory and rest day holidays, because many employers are abusing, and it's terrible. But of course, it's a minority that are abusing. There are many wonderful employers in Hong Kong. I come across amazing cases. But let's go back to Juliet now. Hopefully she's in a not such a noisy place.
Let me see if I can Okay. Juliet, okay ka na ba?
Ako, sir.
Kasi yung lugar mo kanina napakaingay eh. So piniliwanag sa amin ni panganito ni
Sir Peter pa.
Ni Sir Peter yung status. Medyo maingay pa rin ng konti sa lugar mo, no? Pero nasaan ka ba ngayon? Where are you now?
Nandito po ako sa house. Dali lang. Okay po.
Yeah. Tahimik na dyan. Ayan, medyo okay na dyan. Oo.
Okay po.
Where are you now? Wala ka sa accommodation ng employer mo, no? Kasi day off mo ngayon. Tama?
Wala po. Okay.
Okay.
Dito po ako sa house.
Saan? Okay.
So yung case ko, sir, ongoing pa ang may surgery ako sa August 9. Kasi hindi niya inaccept yung 50,000 na kiniklaim. Binid ko. Inano lang niya sa 10,000, pero inano lang judge na hindi ko deserve yung 10,000 ng pangbalay kasi walang termination na naganap, then continuous yung kontrata ko until 17 years at yung 4 years hindi din niya binigay, saka yung ticket ko. So meron pa kaming hearing sa August 9.
Okay. No problem. Totally, meron lang akong sorry, I pressed the wrong button. I'm not supposed to do that. There's a this is the problem of having a small letter. She needs to use earphone. Kinakailangan mag-earphone ka, wala ka bang earphone Juliet, para medyo Juliet, para medyo
meron po.
Naka-earphone ka na. Okay. Medyo kasi okay. Kasi wala problema kasi sorry about that one. Somebody started clapping the hands. Okay. I'm not trying to insult you, no. I wrongly pressed the wrong button. This is the problem.
No problem.
Because I'm doing everything from my laptop. And because I don't want to have any technicians anymore, I want to do everything on my own. Anyway, that's another story. Okay. So, Peter, since it seems Juliet, or as you said earlier, Juliet Tolentino, seems to be in your better good hands, no? And you're taking care of it. Yes. Oh, so that's what you call
Okay, thank you.
that deserves a clapping of hand.
Opo,
Yeah. Thank
very
you very
thankful,
much. Thank
Tita
you.
Peter and Ma'am Marley.
Thank
Nootenboom.
you. Thank you very much. And like I said, like I told once to my good friend here, our station is very happy to have him as our as my co-anchor in Hong Kong issues. Also, our Hong Kong correspondents. Not only in Hong Kong, by the way, in other countries as well. No, he's a correspondent
Wala
also
na akong headset.
of our
Ano ba
radio
yan?
station. He is properly documented. He has the ID. He has everything. So he is an official representative of our radio station. And thank you very much for accepting it, my good friend. Your generosity knows no bound. Okay. So we are on the last half hour of our program. It seems Juliet's case, however complicated, is not as is not how do we say because you were able to handle it properly. It's not as painful as how our first speaker had, no. But there is no. It's not a contest to begin with. Both are very difficult. Both are very painful, and well, what can we say? You cannot please everybody, and somehow,
Yes,
thank goodness, you were able to meet Mr. Peter. No, Peter.
yes po, very
On the
thankful.
final, on the final 28 hour, 28, 18 minutes of our program. Would you like to, to say more about how our our workers should be prepared in coming here before? What is your message to their sending agencies and receiving agencies in Hong Kong as well? Okay, the floor is
Well,
yours, my dear friend.
they should provide a photo of the accommodation so that the helper knows what the accommodation is going to be when they come to Hong Kong. They have no idea. Are you hearing me?
Yeah,
Are you
very
hearing
clear.
me?
Five
I
by
can't
five.
hear. No. Okay. So the helper should be aware of what kind of accommodation they're going to get. The helper, the employer needs to be informed that the helper is entitled to 24 hours rest. That doesn't mean sleep out overnight, but if they need to go to the airport, for example, to pick up their relative and leave the house at 4 a.m. in the morning, it is their rest day. If they're not sleeping somewhere else, I have a recent case. There is no reason, and the helper was terminated for going out at 4 a.m. in the morning on her rest day. She should be allowed to go out at that time because she's going to the airport to pick up her relative. But yet she was terminated for going out. How could she be terminated for going out on her rest day? She didn't commit any offense to go out early. If she's sleeping somewhere, we could technically say that. But there is no reason why she can't go to the airport, which she had told the employer. And yet the employer initially agreed and told her where to get the bus and subsequently terminated her. There are so many terminations in Hong Kong. It's really shocking, especially domestic helpers. They come from the Philippines, sometimes from the province, and they work for somebody who's, studied at Harvard University or Oxford University. And these some employers there are many good employers, but some employers are not so understanding. They get a new helper who is on a different education level. It should really be the responsibility of the employer to be more considerate and to make sure the helper understands what the employer is telling her to do when he's giving instruction. Unfortunately,
I agree.
when these new helpers come to Hong Kong, they tend to say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, 3 bags full. But actually, they didn't understand. But they're being polite.
Okay.
So
You're being archaically humorous.
so the point is, the problem here is that the helpers need to be told in their training in the Philippines that when you don't understand, say, I'm sorry, ma'am or sir, I didn't understand. Could you please explain again, and show an expression of sincerity that would obligate the employer to explain. But the problem is also employers should be told what to expect from somebody who's never worked overseas before, and that they need to make more effort. I mean, like many decades ago, when I had a domestic helper, when they didn't understand, I just naturally realized that. And I said, can you tell me now, what did I tell you to do? And so when they can't explain,
Yes.
then I repeat it until they understand. And then you have a good working relationship. But in Hong Kong, in comparison to Singapore, there are so many terminations within days or within months, which is very unfair to the helper who's coming to Hong Kong. And quite often, they've also paid too much in fees to the agency in the Philippines, which I've mentioned to you already.
Yes.
I've got the detail. Clarence, who didn't come online as we had planned, I do, and I'm going to submit to you the details. And she has actually submitted to me what she spent, which was over 40,000 pesos to the agency in the Philippines. So, therefore, there are many cases of, as I said before, and it was questioned by one of our viewers in the Philippines, as you know. Some people spend 100,000, 150,000 peso before to come to Hong Kong. They hock their property in order to get the job to come here and pay it back.
True.
And this is still going on. And what people are telling me is that some agents are giving a backhander from what they claim in the Philippines back to the Hong Kong agency. But the Hong Kong agents are not allowed to charge domestic helper more than 10%. So
of the first month's salary.
Yes. In fact, if it could only be proven, it's a criminal offense in Hong Kong and the agency could be charged. The problem is proving it. But of course, the agency in the Philippines is at the mercy of the Hong Kong agency. As you can see. The other problem is the agency is representing two sides. So the agent is representing the employer and the employee. But how can the agency represent two sides objectively? The agency, naturally, because the agency is getting $10,000, $12,000 for processing from the client, and she will get 10% maximum of the first month's salary, which will be 400 something Hong Kong dollars. But she's getting like $12,000 from the Hong Kong client. So who do you think who do you think the agent is going to take? A Hong Kong agent is going to take care of it? Of course, the employer.
Really?
Why would they be more? Why would they defend the helper against the agency when the agency may have the opportunity to replace the helper with another helper and get another $12,000? So it's very lucrative for the agents in Hong Kong. But the point
it's a vicious cycle to begin with.
Yes, but the agency shouldn't represent two sides. There should be maybe one agent that represents only the domestic helper and one agency that represents the employer. So the agency...
Well, as far as the Philippine side is concerned, it's practically almost the same thing. They represent both the employer, but by virtue of responsibility, not by virtue of representation per se. Legally speaking, they only... as what is registered here is the principal, or what we call the foreign recruitment agency or foreign placement agency, which is the agent in Hong Kong. And then the agent in Hong Kong is representing the employer per se. Although in the contract as provided by your immigration also indicates the name of the employer. So, like I said, as far as our law is concerned, whether it is the employer or the principal fails to provide the necessary benefits, entitlement, uh, the any worker should get, regardless of any category or any position. The Philippine agency is equally bound to pay that thing. That's according to the law, and it's an old law. It's way back 1974, and they have not removed that law. That's what I said, the JSL law, or the Joint and Several Liability Law. Okay, just to give you an idea how. Now, uh, if I may also suggest, if ever there will be a transfer of employer, if I might suggest, my dear friend, try to walk them in through the polo or the consulate or the polo, they say, and then uh, make them sign a new contract and have it verified by the polo, so that the agency here has no reason to say, oh, they did that on their own. They should be, I am no longer responsible for that worker. Actually, that is wrong. That is a wrong argument, because your principal, your partner, failed to do the right thing of monitoring. That's the word, the key word. Failed to monitor the documentation and the movement of the worker, because that is already in the new law.
But there's no
2000.
provision. There's no provision for transfer in Hong Kong.
In the contract,
Once you're
no, but in
terminated,
our law, yes. Yeah. Anyway, I'm just
yes,
telling
understand.
you. I'm just giving you an advice, no, my friend. Because
Yes, well, I was just
we don't want to give the agency any reason to get out from their responsibility. That's the
okay.
reason why I'm sharing you
Okay,
this new information.
okay. My point is, I was also with a helper, and who was terminated. She's worked for 10 years. This case will come up. I brought her to the consulate to file a complaint against the agency and register to what happened with the employer. After she filed with the OWA reception, she was not called into the OWA office, but one of the staff called her to go with her to the main hall to one of the counters, I'm not sure for what, and she spoke to them in Tagalog, and again in Tagalog. I tried to intervene. I said, actually, I'm assisting this lady, and the concerned OWA lady turned around and said to me, only she can come with me, you cannot come. I said, fine, we're leaving, goodbye, and I'll report you. So I'm sorry, I don't have much. I'm not very happy with the attitude of some staff, but there are many staff in the consulate who are very good, but I was disappointed. I left because the passport was being illegally held by the agency, and I did on that day check with the senior OWA officer, who confirmed to me that there is no need for the employment agency to hold or use the original passport, only a photocopy. And the immigration have said the same. So the consulate has verified that. But because of that incident, I left, and I decided, well, I would call the police if necessary. I went to the agency, and I actually got the 2 contracts back, which were being held, and I needed those for filing the case and the passport. The employer totally wrongfully terminated the helper, and the employer did try to settle the case through the agency, but it would not clear the name of the helper for processing a new contract. So she has no choice but to file the case. So we filed the case, and basically have filed 151,000 Hong Kong dollars opposed to the 60,000 offered. But I indicated to the agency we could settle for about 80-something thousand after I do the calculation. I've done the calculation, it came to about 83,000 Hong Kong dollars, and that's where it stands. The case is going to conciliation. I don't expect any positive reply from the employer, so we will proceed from there to the tribunal court and see where we can settle. But certainly the offer of $60,000, I was not happy with it, and we will fight for a better judgment from the court. But what the employer doesn't realize, the employer will spend more than $100,000, $200,000 in legal fees. Fortunately, this lady has support from her friends, so she said she can go the distance. Many cannot. So she has accommodation, she has food, and the case will proceed, and that case will be coming up in the future. Very interesting case. One of the things I would like to say before the show closes, I think I can see that it's difficult for the consulate to deal with so many cases that are coming in. But perhaps if they had screens, TV screens connected to computers in the OWA and Apollo, they could put screens there which provide information on how to file a case, what to do. So it's like A to Z, you go to one of these monitors and it tells you what to do. So it's almost foolproof. And that would help because of the lack of people to deal with so many cases. The other thing is that I feel that before OFWs are deployed overseas, why is your government not doing anything to educate them about the beauty of the Philippines, the tourist destinations in the Philippines, and something about the Philippine history? It's amazing how few domestic helpers I meet in Hong Kong know nothing, absolutely nothing about, some don't even know about Dr. Jose Rizal as their Philippine national hero. Can you imagine if they knew something about their history, they were proud of their history, they were proud of all the beautiful tourist destinations. All these people being deployed overseas could become ambassadors to promote tourism to the Philippines. What do you think of my comment?
Okay. Okay. So before we close our program, let's give our guest a few minutes to give their final words to our what do you call this, to our listeners. Mary, your final words, please, before we. I hope you don't mind. No, I will let Mary, my friend. I hope you don't mind if I put Mary on full screen so that she could give her final words to our
Yeah.
listeners. Ha? Final words mo, Kwan. Sorry, Mary, naka-mute ka. Sorry. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Ano
Sir,
final words mo?
thank you for this opportunity to interview me for in your Bahay OFW live. Is this live? And then
Live.
for and for Sir Peter Nootenboom and Ate Marley Nootenboom, thank you so much for helping me. So every time I have a problem before when I was in Hong Kong, you are the one always there guiding me and advice a lot of positive mindset for me. So thank you so much. And for you, sir, host, thank you so much. Salamat,
My
salamat.
pleasure. My pleasure. Okay, so
Sir?
ikukuhan muna ta ka na, ha? Papapasukin ko muna sandali si Kwan. Si Lilibet,
Okay.
si Jewet naman, ha? Sandali lang, ha? Huwag ka muna alis, ha? Sabay-sabay tayo mag-goodbye. Okay. Jewet, your final words sa ating mga OFWs bago tayo magsara.
Okay po sir, thank you very much po for allowing me on this day for Bahay OFW group. And then I want to thank I want to take this opportunity to thank to Sir Pieter Nootenboom and to Ma'am Merly Nootenboom. Because of them, I have the courage to fight for this case. and all the encouragement and that they are giving it they are giving for me.
Very good.
Thank you,
Thank you.
sir,
Thank
for
you.
giving us this opportunity.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. So, Peter, it's your turn to give your final words before we close before I give my final words. Your turn, my dear friend. Your final words to our listeners and viewers all over the world.
Beware of your rights as OFWs. That's my advice. Don't be intimidated. You do have rights and they can be enforced like what we're doing in Hong Kong. So please document if you're being abused by your employer. Send the recording to a friend for security. Do not allow your employer to use your telephone. Have a lock on your phone. Do not use your employer's SIM card on your phone. If your employer wants you to use their SIM card, tell them to provide you with a phone. They have no right to invade your personal privacy. I have a case again right now where this is exactly what happened. The employer invaded the helper's privacy, which is actually an invasion of privacy under the Privacy Ordinance of Hong Kong, which I will help to file a complaint. But the employer took the SIM card away, so the employer has access to all their personal data. That is really criminal.
Wow. Very, very, very inhuman. Yeah.
So it's very unfair to the helper and it's also what happens with some helper. Give me your telephone. Then the employer, they hand over the telephone to the employer. The employer then opens it and deletes everything to factory settings to make sure there is no evidence of misconduct by the employer against the helper. I've come across this many times.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh my gosh. That's
Please
how
call the helpers.
really horrendous they are, huh? Oh,
Some are like that. They're treating people. They're
some,
treating
yes.
those domestic helpers like slaves, worse than slaves.
Yes.
Terrible, shocking.
Exactly. I am. Anyway, now that we have reached the end part of our program, I hope mga kapitbahay OFW, sana may napulot kayo sa mga napag-usapan namin dito. Sandali, hindi ko na-amit si ano. Mga kapitbahay, sana may napulot kayo sa aming mga revelations dito. Sa senior ni Joel, ni Marie, of course, si Sir Peter na tumutulong sa ating mga kwan at ating mga OFWs doon na naisikonduleng at a single cent is charging the workers for on whatever he helped. Sabi nga ni Marie, even sometimes our bus, our train, our food are all paid by Mr. Peter and Ma'am Merly. Well, thank you very much for the Nootenboom couple for having helped our kababayans. Very few foreigners who are sincere in helping our fellow Filipinos. And that said, it's time to say goodbye. Anyway, thank you very much, Peter. Thank you very much, Juliet and Mary. And this will be, of course, be aired on the 29th. And like I said, I hope our listeners were able to learn a lot from whatever they have heard today because it is very educational. Thank you very much, Peter, for your efforts. And please, I hope you have a successful operation on the 29th, no? As this will be aired also on the 29th, as promised. Okay? So, that being said, mga kapitbahay, maraming salamat po sa inyong mga oras at pakikinig at wag po kayo magsasawa. Okay? Bukas po sa May 15, ang atong pag-uusapan naman ay tungkol sa Kuwait. At ang ating mga bisita ay tungkol nga rin sa nakakaalam ng merkado ng Kuwait dahil ngayon ay bawal pumasok ang Pilipino sa Kuwait. That being said, maraming salamat po and have a good day. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye!